Hey everyone, welcome to another top 10 list. This week's top 10 list continues on my same thought process from the last few weeks. First, I did a top 10 large size notes new collectors may want to get. Then I did top 10 small size notes a new collector may be interested in. But there are other things, other oddities. There's other ways that you can collect as well. And if you're a new collector, and you wanted to get some ideas on direction or things that may be collectible, well, here's that list. So here's the top 10 other top 10 other types of notes that you may want to get into. So let's get started. Number 10, I'm starting off with this. This is a state of Louisiana baby bond. Now, there's a whole story that goes with the baby bonds. You can see the baby pictured on here. The short version is it was illegal for states to print their own money, and the South didn't want to abide by the Northern rules. So they didn't issue money, they issued bonds, and people would try to spend these bonds as $5 notes. But they were legal because you can see here they had interest coupons that could be clipped. What makes these so famous is that the guy who came up with this, let's try that real slow, the guy who came up with the idea to work around the law printed 2 of these notes for every one that he said he was going to print. So there were duplicate serial numbers. So he printed what he was supposed to print and issued them, and he printed another batch and kept those. So he was basically, he basically printed his own money. And because of that, as soon as that was found out that there were duplicate certificates, as soon as he tried to spend them like that, well, that kind of destroyed the value on all these, making these nothing but collectibles nowadays. These particular ones you can find for 15, 20, 25 bucks, depending on how many coupons are left. Very cool add-on. Unfortunately, since the guy who made them was the one who copied them, there are no differences. So yeah, you may be able to find identical serial numbers, I think, but it's not like half of these are fake. They're all real. They're just too many of them. So that one is number 10. Number 9. There are the military payment certificates. Now, this particular military payment certificate is one of my favorites. When you talk about them, you'll see the series. This one is Series 692. The series number tells you the year. This would be 1969. And then the last digit, the 2, is the second series. So the first series of 1969 would be 691. This particular one is worth $1. Well, at least it's a dollar value. But what makes it cool is the back, because you have the image of the bison. There's the 1901 $10 bison note, the legal tender, that's just an iconic note. If you can't afford that note, which can run you 4 figures, you can get the $1 military certificate to get that bison image on our currency. So it's kind of a cheat to get one of the expensive notes, but that has driven up the price of this particular MPC. So this one is number 9 on my list. Number 8. This is the $1 Confederate States of America note, the 1862. This one is the type 45, and I have the type 43 to go with it, if I recall. These 2 notes were put out by the Confederate States of America, but what makes these special is these both have the green overprint. Now, when these notes were commissioned, the printer printed what they were told to print, and the printer told the person in charge that these are going to be very easy to counterfeit, so they should do like some type of overprint to make it harder. And they said, no, we're not going to do that. Well, he printed them like he was supposed to, but then he did one more batch at the end showing the green overprint like this. And it did make them much harder to counterfeit, but it also made the ones with the green overprint exceedingly rare. This note, if it wasn't details, without the green print, would be about this one would be between $45 and $75. With the green overprint graded at 20, this is around $500. This one, same thing. Without the green overprint, you're talking $40 to $80. With the green overprint in a grade 20, it's $1,000. So yeah, you may be able to score some of these with the green overprint relatively cheap. So that's definitely something to look out for. That is number 8. Number 7, I have another pair of notes. These are both foreign notes, and frankly, I don't even care what country they're from, because I got these because they are both error notes, and they contain, well, I don't want to say errors. This one's an error, and this one's a fancy serial number. We'll start with this one here. This one happens to be from the Philippines, and it is 100, I don't even know, to be honest. 100 peso? Don't know, don't care. I bought this note because it has a solid serial number, 888888. If you find a solid serial number on U.S. currency that has 8 eights on it, that note's going to be worth $3,000. So there's no way I'm going to be paying thousands of dollars for a fancy serial number. Do I understand the value there? Sure, but I could come up with a lot better ways to spend $3,000. So I will most likely never own a solid U.S. serial number. But when you look at foreign currency, the collecting market doesn't go as crazy for solids. And this particular one is only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 eighths. So it's a little easier than our 8 eighths would be. And since it's on foreign currency, there's not a whole lot of demand for these. So I was able to pick up this, not for $3,000, but I think I paid somewhere in the neighborhood of $60 for it, maybe $80, somewhere in that range. So it was a way for me to get a type of note that I always wanted at a much more affordable price. This note here has a similar, this is from the Central Bank of Bolivia, and if you look at the serial number here, it's 127954, and if you look on this side, it's 127955. It's a mismatched serial number. A mismatched serial number on American currency is going to be $400 to $800 without a problem. But this I got for under $100. So I had no problem spending less than $100 to get a mismatched serial number. It's a little tougher to spend the big bucks for an American note. So once again, when it comes to fancy serial numbers like this or errors like this, if you can't afford the US version, try to hunt down the foreign versions because you can save a lot of money that way. That is number 7. Number 6. I have a couple notes from Canada. These are both 1954. 1954 was the first year that Queen Elizabeth was put on Canadian currency as the central figurehead. I believe in 1932 or was it 27? There's a $10 bill with her image on it, and that's a ridiculously expensive note. It shows her as a child. But this is when she finally took the crown, and they put her on Canada's banknotes. Problem is that on the initial print, the engraver copied exactly what he saw off the portrait, and when translating the color into black and white, you get what is the image of the devil's head. You have the nose, the horns, the eyes, the mouth. The image of the devil comes out in her hair. When the queen realized you could do that, she ordered all of these back, and they redid the frame and the engraving so that you could no longer see that image. So here is the devil's head and the modified version. They did this on every denomination, the 1, the 2, the 5, the 10, the 20, the 50, the 100, even the 1,000 has one of these. I will probably not be getting the $1,000 devil's head, but I was able to score the $100 devil's head at a reasonable price, so I bought its counterpart, and I've completed my set up to the 100. So the devil's head stuff from Canada, that is number 6. Number 5, I've got some other Confederate currency. The CSA, this particular one is type 64. It is the $500 Confederate States of America note. When I bought this note, I wanted to make sure that it was real, and I didn't know a whole lot about Confederate notes at the time, so I made sure to buy a graded note. That way I knew it was real. Since then, I've learned a lot about these, and I would be able to pick up one that's no longer graded. There are a lot of counterfeits out there because that's kind of what the North did to help ruin the economy of the South. They printed a bunch of fake notes, put them in circulation. This one does have a blank back, of course. It's labeled stained, but it's a $500 note. It's just cool to have a large denomination note like that. Right now, 100 is the biggest note you're going to find, so to see something larger and more importantly, affordable, that's kind of cool to add. So that's number 5 in the collection. Number 4, this is a colonial note. This particular one is from the colonies. This is from Delaware, and it's dated June 1st, 1759. It is the oldest U.S., well, I can't say U.S. note because there was no U.S. in 1759. But it's a 20 shillings note. Very difficult to read everything on there because it's not in the greatest of shape. But what makes this cool, I mean, it's a colonial. That alone is pretty cool. But actually, this particular one, if I can read it right, let's see if I can find it on here. Maybe it's this way. I'm trying to find where it says it on there. It will say PRI and then all this. It's printed by, and then it fades out here, but you can read AKLIN. It was printed by Benjamin Franklin. It didn't have a picture of Benjamin Franklin on it. He printed it. I mean, that's pretty cool. So if you can find one, you're looking for Delaware Colonial, this particular date, 20 shillings. That's the one that he printed. When they're in rough shape, it's very difficult to try to read that on the back. So a lot of people don't even know that they have notes that he printed, which means you can score them pretty cheap. I got this for $100. So yeah, finding colonials. They weren't all printed by Franklin, but any colonial note's cool to have. If you get one printed by Franklin, all the better. That one is number 4. Number 3, I've got a fractional. This is from the Civil War era. Precious metals were being hoarded by people. Nobody wanted to give out change. They all were trying to save copper and silver and gold. Oh, that sounds familiar. Anyway, the government fought back by putting out fractional paper money. That way commerce could still continue. This particular note is one of the most famous fractionals out there. It is the 50-cent fractional from the 4th series. This was actually printed in the 1870s, making it one of the very first notes to ever feature Abraham Lincoln after he had died. The act that made these legal, I believe he was the one that signed the act to make them legal in the first place, was 1863. And this particular one, like I said, was printed in the early 1870s, I should say. Very cool looking note front and back, especially in good condition, like this one is. Even in bad condition, these particular ones start off at $200. There are 5 different series of fractionals that start from as little as 3 cents, the denomination of 3 cents. There's odd denominations like 15 cents. So there's all kinds of different ones, and based on the different grades, you can buy these for $10, or you can spend up like this one and have something worth $200, $300, $400 depending on the condition. So that's just another way to look at it. That is number 3. Number 2, pulling out another Canadian note because this is my favorite Canadian note. This is from the Bank of Canada, 1975 $50 bill. And as cool as the front is with all those multicolors on it, the back is even cooler. The circle of mounties. Just a cool image. I mean, I don't even know what to say. Just to see that on the back is that's just so neat. If you can find one of these in good condition, like this particular one here, this one is just a 53, so it's not that it's uncirculated, but it allows you to see all of those colors, and it allows you to see all of the detail. I mean, look at that, multicolored in these thin lines with the yellow there. Just such an impressive work. It's amazing that this is what they use for spending money with all the detail on it. I just can't get over this note. I know every time I show it, sales of these go up because everybody wants to get one. I'm just glad I got mine before I ever showed it, because I understand how beautiful it is and how many people watch to see what to get next. That one is number 2. And finally, number 1. This is one of the most underrated notes ever. This is an obsolete note from New Orleans, Louisiana. It's from the 1860s, the Citizens Bank of Louisiana. Now, the history of this note is barges would travel down the Mississippi River to get to New Orleans to sell their goods. And because there was no national currency at the time, everybody wanted to get stuff from a bank they trusted. Everybody trusted the Citizens Bank of Louisiana. They knew that bank wasn't going to go under, so everybody wanted to bring home these notes. Now, Louisiana is known for the French Quarter, and 10 in French is D-I-X. So they put DIX on the back to represent the French Quarter. You can see they've got it in French here, and they've got it in French all over the back. So people from the north coming down the Mississippi didn't speak French, but they had a neat name for this note. They called these Dixies. And where do you go to get Dixies? You go to Dixieland. This is the note that gave the South the nickname Dixieland. Very, very cool note. Only about 500 of these still exist. And with them being that rare, they're only worth about $500. Can you believe that? A note that gave us a word for the dictionary, Dixieland, and it's only $500. Get one while you can, because the more I tell the story, the harder these are to find. That one is easily number one on my list. If you learned anything new this week, go ahead and hit that like button. If you like what you see and you want to see more, please subscribe. Love reading all your comments. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.